It's JR here with another JR, WWE Hall of Famer, one of the greatest announcers ever, Jim Ross. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for letting me use your name.
No, I should say the opposite. And we're going to talk about Slobberknocker, which was a great book. But first, we're here in New York City, right? The Heisman is going to be given away this Saturday. I know you're a big Sooners fan. Baker Mayfield, Giants need a quarterback. Jets need a quarterback. How would he perform here in New York City?
He's going to be a player. No matter where he goes, and the bigger the stage, the better. He's a little Joe Willie in him.
Okay.
There's a little Brett Favre in him, and personality-wise, meaning that I'm trying to say he has an infectious personality. His teammates like hanging with him, like being around him. They like him in their foxhole. So I think he's going to be great wherever he goes. And you know, somebody was saying he might go to New Orleans and play behind Drew Brees, learn. Same body types, and maybe transition there. But I think he's a starter sooner than later. He's very mature. Here's a guy that's a walk-on.
Right.
He's a walk-on. He's a three-time Heisman finalist.
That's hard work.
Walk-on. And so him coming to New York, coming to the Apple and playing football, probably for him would be a dream come true.
Okay, well, we'll see if it's actually going to happen. And there's a lot of dreams here in this book, Slobberknocker, that you put together. What inspired you to put this book together? There's a lot of great stories in here.
In 2013, as a matter of fact, on September the 11th, 2013, I met with Vince McMahon in his office, and we came to the realization that my time there was over. And so I had to either, on the way from Stanford back to LaGuardia, figure out, are you going to retire, JR, or are you going to reinvent? So I thought, I think I'll think about this reinvention thing. What can an old wrestling announcer do? Well, I could write a book. I can do a podcast. I can do one-man shows, Q&As, and that's a start. Since then, I've done all those things. Yeah. I bought the rights to a book that we're going to make into a movie probably next year about Mildred Burke, a great wrestler, called Queen of the Ring. It's kind of a cross between League of Their Own and Boardwalk Empire. Very provocative stuff.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is. And so, and this has got some interest in movies and things. We're going to go to a meeting there in L.A. in early January. So I just thought reinventing would be the thing to do. And I had so many stories from an average guy.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can see the TV.
I wouldn't call you an average guy, by the way.
Well, I live that way. I really do. And a chubby guy from eastern Oklahoma with a southern accent, and then eventually 3 bouts of facial paralysis where I can't smile.
Right.
It kind of impedes your television career. I may not be camera friendly to a lot of people. Somebody's probably sitting there and said, "You're damn right, I'm changing." No, I'm kidding. But that's the deal. I fought through the challenges, and I said this, JR, don't ever let anybody else define you.
Oh, no, there were a lot of great stories in this book. What I appreciate is the fact that you learned the business of wrestling. It seems that you did every single job, and you worked your way into where you were. So I commend you for that. One of my favorite stories in the book had to deal with The Rock. And the first time you sat down with him for talent relations, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were bringing him into the WWE over a meal. And he said, "Hey, man, I don't have money to pay for this. And by the way, I'm going to be the biggest star that you guys have." The Rock said that?
Oh, yeah. And he didn't say it, Dwayne didn't say it in a, egocentric way. Like I'm the big dog. There's a new sheriff in town analogy. He said, "I would love to buy you lunch, but I got $7 to my name."
Wow.
$7. If you look at Ballers or any of his work, his
$7 Productions.
There you go. That's where it came from. And but I knew that when every female that worked in that little restaurant came by to fill our tea glass at least 10 times, getting us new glasses, switching out, just to come by and see him.
They wanted to be a part. They wanted the Rock's aura.
They wanted They wanted to pass through the Rock's aura and just get a little closer look at the great one. He wasn't the great one then.
No.
He wasn't even The Rock then.
He wasn't throwing up the eyebrow or none of that.
Oh, man, he just being Dwayne. But then the guys started coming by to say, "Hey, JR, what are you doing here today? Who's this big guy?" Because they saw him, they knew me from TV, but they didn't know who he was.
And he played at Miami.
Yeah. So But he played with a helmet on. He played with a uniform on.
Right.
Here he sits with a pair of shorts and a tank top.
Well, he played down in Miami, and we know you called plenty of matches and events here in New York City. What makes New York a special place for professional wrestling?
The legacy of the gardens, the very first garden to all the other incarnations to where it is today. You know, I know WWE is going to be there the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's a huge deal for wrestling fans to go see a holiday show in Madison Square Garden and see their favorite stars. So there's heritage, there's history here, lineage, and I think it's just really very, very deep-rooted. The deal has always been the business. The territory, back in the territory days, this was called the New York Territory. Even though there weren't that many New York cities,
Right.
New York City,
Yeah.
they were in Boston, you know, Philly, but New York was the territory. So everybody wants to, hey kids, you're good at what you do, maybe someday you'll make it in New York. It wasn't making just in New York City, it's making the territory, but this
New York.
This city was the focal point. So it's always
Right.
been that way. And I've been asked a million questions about your favorite arena. There's no doubt, it's the Garden. If you get to play the Garden, man. Hey, I went from the farm in Oklahoma to the Garden in New York City.
Madison Square Garden,
Great.
the world's most famous arena. Make sure that you guys go ahead and pick up Slobberknocker. It was a great read. Jim, I appreciate
You
it.
bet. Thank you, JR.
Now, there's a lot of stories in here. We're going to learn some more.